Well, the riots have stopped, but Baltimore is actually more dangerous than ever. The city recording its deadliest month in over 40 years, 43 murders. Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani on what could be driving that spike. What do you think?
Well, first of all, the numbers are astounding. Just to give you a sense in terms of per capita, that would be more than 500 murders in 1 month in New York City.
Is that right?
Well, we're 12 times the population.
Right.
Multiply the 43 by 12, and you get.
I understand how you got to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But bottom line is that that's happening. Why? What's going on?
We're talking about numbers that exceed murder rates in Iraq and Afghanistan during the war in Iraq and Afghanistan that we supposedly got tired of. In other words, we're killing more people at home than we were losing soldiers over there, just in one city, Baltimore. And the murder rates are up in a couple of other cities as well. What is happening is when you don't support the police, when you don't have their back, it isn't that they don't do their job. They just do it much more carefully. Carefully meaning they don't take a chance. They want to make absolutely sure that the person they arrest has the gun. The person they arrest is absolutely involved in a very serious crime. They may even show up, the ones that aren't as dedicated may even show up a little bit late. You get a radio call, shooting in progress. I train my police to get there right away, get right in the middle of it, and stop the shooting before it got worse. And I told you, I'm going to back you up. And I did. They know under a couple of very serious...
So you're saying some of them are going so far as say, I'll hold back.
Do I think it? I know it.
Well, that's not what a policeman should do, right?
I grew up in a family of 4 uncles who were police officers, one who was a firefighter. I've worked in law enforcement for more of my life than anything else.
Well, you know what people are going to say, right? Man, they're going to look at this and they might believe you're right and just say, well, what does that say about the cops?
What it says about the cops is they have 4 children at home. They know that if anything goes wrong, the mayor of Baltimore is going to turn on them. The district attorney is going to probably put them in jail for the rest of their lives, and their families are going to be ruined. So you ask yourself, what would you do under those circumstances? The heroic among us would go in and say, the heck with it. We'll take the chance. We'll do it.
Right.
The bad ones will run away, and the average ones will be a little bit more careful. A little bit more careful means reporting the crime rather than stopping it. Everybody has always wanted to know, why does Chicago have 3.5 times the murder rate of New York per capita? And we have the same gun control laws. I'm going to tell you why. Because in New York, we were much more aggressive with stop and frisk, starting with me, and all through Bloomberg, in taking guns away from bad guys. We didn't rely on gun control because, I'm sorry, criminals don't go control their guns. Chicago relied on gun control. Didn't have the kind of stop and frisk policies we had. Didn't want to get the feedback and the blowback from the community. In fact, if you get stopped and you get searched for a gun, the way you should look at it, if you live in a dangerous community, is the same way you and I look at TSA. We get annoyed that we have to be stopped and sometimes frisked, right? I've been frisked, but I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because somebody might blow up an airplane. The reason those cops are stopping you and frisking you in the neighborhoods that have serious crime is to prevent those 43 murders, most of whom are going to turn out to be minorities. And you should put up with the occasional or sometimes not so occasional. I mean, most of the people that are searched by TSA are not terrorists. I don't know, you start getting angry at the TSA guy because he's going to ask you to step aside. He wants to look at something?
Yes, I do. Every single day.
Well, you should.
I do. Okay,
well, you should.
Because they seek me out. But then again, they're watching CNN. And I think, well, I know what's going on here. Let me, on a separate issue, Rand Paul and this whole, impasse on the Patriot Act. What do you think of what he's doing?
I think it's extremely reckless. The Patriot Act was passed for a very specific reason and for an issue that I know about for 40 years, going back to the early 1970s and the hijackings that the Islamic extremist terrorists were doing back in the 1970s. I've investigated, I've prosecuted, and I've been the victim of Islamic extremist terrorism as mayor of New York, losing some of my closest friends. This man is living in Never Never Land. We need these intercepts. We have protected thousands and thousands of American citizens as a result of it. I was getting information from these intercepts when, even before President Bush was in office. President Clinton would make this kind of information available to mayors. So this isn't Republican or Democrat. I don't know where his father and he have come up with this idea that the world is peaceful and the world is nice and the world is sweet and we should just step back into, Fortress America.
But where does a Rudy Giuliani draw the line? He apparently draws it, that is Senator Rand Paul. And by the way, I talked to General Petraeus on this same issue, Mayor, at the 120 million Americans' phone records. Where do you?
I say whatever the government needs to protect us. I trust the government not to use this information for nefarious purposes. Give me one example of the United States government using this information for a nefarious purpose. Now, hackers have, but the United States government has been very, very responsible in handling this information.
But the American government has hidden things from people too, right? I mean, isn't that?
But you haven't seen somebody's affair come out, somebody's calling some bad person, somebody gambling. They are enormously careful with this information. This information is in the hands of some of our biggest patriots who are trying to protect the country.
So do you think, when you look at a Rand Paul, could you support him as your commander?
Very, very tough. For me, the most important issue that faces America is Islamic extremist terrorism. I'll make it even narrower than that. It's Iran. I agree very much with Lindsey Graham today, which I thought was one of the most focused speeches on foreign policy I've heard from any of the candidates. If you could pick one regime we have to take out, it's the Iranian regime. Why? They're the biggest sponsor of terrorism in the world. They're now creating an empire in Syria. They're creating an empire in Iraq. They're creating an empire in Yemen with the Houthis. They are. Is
he your candidate, by the way?
They are
Senator Graham?
I don't have a candidate yet, but I said the candidate I want is the one who is going to, the one the Ayatollah and Putin is going to be afraid of. I often ask audiences, does anybody in this audience believe that Putin is afraid of Barack Obama? And it could be Democrats or Republicans. I get laughter in the audience. And then I say, is anybody in this audience that thinks the Ayatollah is afraid of Obama? And I get uproarious laughter. The Ayatollah and Putin, both of whom have bad designs. The Ayatollah much worse. I actually don't want to compare Putin to the Ayatollah. It's not a fair. I don't like Putin, but he's not an irrational man. He could be dealt with. The Ayatollah is a completely irrational man.
But of the crop of candidates you see, you don't have a favorite at this point?
Well, I like the ones who are the strongest on national security. I like the things Marco Rubio says about national security. I like the things Jeb Bush says about national security. I like the things Lindsey Graham says about national security.
The only reason why I asked me is that
I like the things that George Pataki says about it.
You just read my mind. He's in the race now. Everyone is in the race but you. What's the problem?
And I like the fact that I know George Pataki up close by, I would say, being in battlefield conditions.
Absolutely, but he's in the race now. And so we could have 1824 when all is said and done. Why not you?
Because I believe I can't get nominated.
Really?
Because of my views on gay marriage. I'm in favor of gay rights. I'm in favor of gay marriage. I see it as an issue of equality. I'm pro-choice. I'm anti-abortion personally, but I'm pro-choice. And I am pro-immigrant and haven't backed down from it.
But certainly all of these guys are running right now. They must have weighed, but maybe some of them won't think, they each think they could be the nominee and president of the United States.
But none of them are dealing with the same liabilities in getting through a primary that I am. And also, I don't feel the necessity to do it.
Yeah.
I think we have a very good field. My problem is not going to be picking somebody. It's going to be picking, it's like, I got three great center fielders. Who do I? It's like I have Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, and Duke Snider on my team. Who do I play in center field?
These are all baseball analogies.
By the way, I play Willie.
I got you. I wonder where we're going with the next one.
I play Mickey in right and Snider in left. That's what I would do.
I'm still thinking about the Rangers, but that's just me.
Oh, come on, don't make me cry.
I know. We got to go on. We got to go on. Rudy Giuliani, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Good.